Secrets of Astrology YouTube channel welcomes all of you, and I'm your Astromate. Today is a special day for a special series on Sudarshan Chakra, and we are going to speak regarding this to Astromaster UK Jha. Astromaster, in the book of astrology, we have faint discussion of Sudarshan Chakra, but much details of the same are not available there. The name Sudarshan Chakra is itself sounds to be very attractive, but because of the non-availability of details regarding its use, students feel flustered to apply it freely. It would be a great favor of yours if you can elaborate the historic and historic aspect of this chakra, that is Sudarshan Chakra, for the benefits of student. I would implore you to please say a few words on this little known system of horoscopic delineation, that is Sudarshan Chakra. Astromaster.
Yes, you are absolutely right in this respect that Sudarshan Chakra is there in the books, but most of the astrologers don't use it. Perhaps they think that it is something of antique value, and that's why it is given in the books. But the fact is that Sudarshan Chakra is a very important tool of prognostication, provided one cares to handle it properly. Let me tell you that importance of Sudarshan Chakra cannot be explained in few sentences. A small booklet will become automatically prepared if the significance of Sudarshan Chakra is dealt properly. Your observation is right that because of the non-use of this system, Sudarshan Chakra has today become almost obsolete in the process of interpretation of the chart. And this has become, as man has become brutally materialistic in his pursuits, perceptions and deliberations. They want everything in ready-made and quickly prepared manner. An effort, rather an attempt for getting some shortcut solution is sought and delivered everywhere. That is rampant in astrology also. But we must not forget the fact that it is called Sudarshan, which means a very supernal view of the things when looked through it. It means the exalted picturization of the things. So we may say that a more clear and comprehensive picture of the things that we intend to study from the horoscope emerges when we look at the same with the help of Sudarshan Chakra. A more vivid image of the things and events become apparent when we study the horoscope in the light of Sudarshan Chakra about the things that is likely to materialize during the life of the native. That is why it is called Sudarshan Chakra, because it gives a clear view of the things. The other reason for calling it Sudarshan Chakra is that Sudarshan Chakra is the weapon in the hand of Lord Vishnu for destruction of the demons. He used to destroy the demons with the help of Sudarshan Chakra. So we may say that with the use of this chakra, an astrologer becomes capable of exterminating the demons of any confusion on doubt as regards to the manifestation of an event in the life of the native. This gives a more vivid and radiant picture of the events likely to come to pass during the currency of the life of the native. Unfortunately, this extremely useful tool for delineation of the chart has been forgotten. People have nearly discarded its use, and that's why it looks as an obsolete system today. However, it can be said that the scholars of Siddha-tantric cult, as I have seen, apply this chart invariably for finding out the better probability of success of their anusthans or prayogs in experiments of occult imports. They are not very much interested in physical things, but they do use this Sudarshan Chakra, I have seen, invariably. Like everything in the field of astrology, Sudarshan Chakra too has its twofold applications, that is esoteric and exoteric. I mean, it becomes helpful in studying the chart both from the point of esoteric interpretation and for exoteric interpretations. Here I am going to take first the importance of Sudarshan Chakra from esoteric point of view. A man, as you know, actually lives on three planes simultaneously. These are physical, psychological and spiritual. And Sudarshan Chakra operates through three centers that is coaxial with these three levels of existence of the man. These centers are the ascendant, the moon and the sun. These three centers respectively represent the physical, the psychological and the spiritual configuration or inner constitution of the man. On the external plane, an individual may appear to be one composite being, but at the inner level, he remains clearly divided into, I would say, three selves, that is physical self, psychological self and a spiritual self. This happens with every human being, and an imbalance between all these things only results in the disarrangement of things which psychologists call as a split personality. These centers do not work in isolation, in fact. They work in complete concordance to each other for giving shape to the observable behavioral pattern and the visible tendency of the man that is studied from the outside, from his body language, from his deliberation, from his talks, etc. The influence of other planets and lunar nodes mold the things considerably, and the forces dangling around these centers work in close tandem with the forces operating along the nodal axis and emerging from the various centers represented by different planets in the horoscope. The resultant force of all this present a comprehensive picture of the karmic constitution of the man that can be applied for studying the inner constitution of an individual. Let us now look into these three centers separately. The birth ascendant imparts informations about all that emerge as the physical need of a person. In this center, we can clearly see the reflections of the root cause of all chaotic demands for which the man hankers on physical plane in life, and towards which his all the efforts remains directed most of the time. These demands are mostly oriented towards the corporeal gratifications and comforts. Man first needs bodily comforts, enjoyment that gives satisfaction to his body also. Means all the comforts and satisfaction is initially or primarily based on the conditions of body, or rather which fulfills the demands of the body. The needs that arise from here basically emanate from the domain of, say, Hiranyakashipu. Hiranya means golden and Kashyap is bed. Everything that attracts the man as a golden deer in the world originate from here. This serves as the bottomless pit of all worldly cupidities. Man keeps on running behind it only to procure more and more tortures and agonies, because running after the golden deer, or to have temptation for the golden deer, always leads to sorrows and agonies. That is clearly stated in the form of a story of Mother Goddess Sita, who got attracted towards the golden deer. So this center normally gives this type of, rather it generates this type of need in life. The other center is of moon, which is also called Chandra Lagna in the birth chart. Deposited here is the psychological demands of the native. See, when the stomach is full, the flight of mind becomes rapid. When body gets its means of comforts, then the mind starts looking for other things. And all that is engineered from this center only. The desire of a man, his hunch, feelings, emotions, sentiments, etc., all that shape his likings and dislikings in life is basically controlled from this center to a very greater extent. This center is very treacherous also, because it often works through and in congruence with the physical demands. So many times man thinks that he needs it urgently, because it is very difficult to survive without that. But in actuality, that is not a physical demand. It is the hunch or the hankering from the mind that drives the man to run after those things. That is why man often fails to find out as to what is it that may provide him true satisfaction. And because of the lack of a clear comprehension of the same, he remains permanently dissatisfied in life. Right from the childhood up to the end of the life, man simply keeps on desiring this and desiring that. It is very difficult to get rid of this desire, because this center, that is psychological center operating through the position of moon, is both very active, it is also very treacherous and very powerful also. I can tell you the thing. Actually, this is the domain of Kamsa that gives the man a swollen head and fills the mind with all the elements of arrogation. The moment some obstacle comes in the way of, say, realizing those ambitions that has been nursed at mental level, man becomes violent. He cannot tolerate that something he wants so eagerly at mental level as is desired should be prevented by any other force. And that is also one of the reasons for the violence in the world. Because if you go through the Gita, it says, Sangat sanjayate kamah, kamah krodho bhijayate, krodhat bhavati sammoho, sammohat smrit vibhramah, smrit bhranshad buddhinaso, buddhinasa pranashyati. Actually, from such desires, come the attachment, and any obstruction that comes in the way of realization of desire results in the form of anger. And once the man becomes angry, actually anger is always fueled by sense of arrogation only. And in deep anger, man loses his sense of discrimination. His intelligence becomes weak. He commits too many things which is not appreciable by any count, and ultimately he is destroyed by his own actions. So this center needs to be studied very carefully in the horoscope, and perhaps that is the reason that earlier the astrologers generally used to refer Chandra Lagna as a confirmatory tool for finding out whether any event studied from the birth ascendant would materialize forcefully in life or not. To be continued.